skydiving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Raw Recovery. Today's guest is Christine. Am I saying that? Christine, right? Christin. Christin, see? That's why we double check. And I'm not even going to go back and redo that, guys. So we're going to do a 10 step right off the bat here. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm bad with names. So, Kristen is she's actually in my home group, and that's where I've kind of met her, and she has a really neat story, and just some things that she's overcoming, and she has long-term sobriety coming up on 13 years in January. Did you say?
Yep, January 3rd, 13 years, God willing.
Ooh, God willing, that's right. It's so yeah, we those things are coming up, and we can get excited about them, but we know better than to plan the results. We know better than that. So, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking your time and coming on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Where did you grow up at?
Well, I was born in Miami, Florida, and I actually lived there until Hurricane Andrew came.
Okay.
And we evacuated, my mom and I, because my mom is a single mom. My dad lived in Indiana.
Okay.
And I ended up living in Indiana with him for a little while. And then my mother and I moved back down to Georgia.
Okay.
So I'm from Georgia, just moved to Colorado about 3 years ago.
Okay.
I was a figure skater, fun fact.
Wow.
As I trained with Scott Hamilton's coach.
Oh, wow, really? That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool stuff. Where did you train at?
Well, I started at the mall ice rink up in Indiana, and when we moved to Georgia,
okay,
I trained. Actually, we lived right next door to the ice rink because my mom, being a single mom, it was hard to get me to and from skating. So I would just walked there. Like, she would drop me off at 5 a.m. I would skate. I would walk home, get ready for school, get on the bus, get off the bus when I got back, go back to the rink, and then she'd pick me up like later on.
Wow, that's pretty convenient. Good for you.
Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah. So, yeah, I grew up mainly outside of like the suburbs of Atlanta. Went to UGA.
Okay.
And moved to Athens, stayed there for 13 years, and that's where I got sober.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say that's where it started.
Yeah, that's where it ended.
Me for a loop.
Long before that.
Okay.
Yeah, it started with vodka and Surge.
Okay.
With when I was like 14.
Yeah. Surge, I remember that. Yeah, that was like the beginning of the energy drinks.
I know. They're out again, I think. I don't know. Are they? Yeah, but it just made me feel different, and it was fun. And honestly, like, I always felt like a little bit different than everybody else. I'm an only child, so I was a very lonely child. It's weird. I didn't have imaginary friends. I had imaginary dogs because I always liked animals.
Okay.
I had them back of the school bus so they could run to school with me because they weren't allowed on the bus. I don't know what that was about, but I always felt like, and I hear this a lot with people in recovery, is that they just feel like they don't quite fit in.
Yeah, we don't belong.
Know why? What do you think about that?
I would say that almost every person I talk to says that.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of Sesame Street when they're like, one thing here doesn't belong, and it's me.
Yeah, I felt like the cheese.
Yeah. Very, very good point. The cheese in that one, yeah.
The cheese stands alone. Actually, I had a roommate in the recovery house I was at for 18 months tell me, Christin, you're not the cheese today.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be alone today.
Yeah. You know, I
You're
didn't.
not unique.
My daily reflection was on that today, actually.
Oh, really?
That we're never alone. That we don't have to be alone anymore.
And that in itself was like the biggest relief for me, whether it be knowing I have people in the program to support me, or with my higher power and truly having that connection. Because right now I'm more alone physically like than I've ever been. And I don't feel alone, and the right people have come into my life that I needed, and I am in the place I'm supposed to be.
Do you mind filling people in on what's going on with you right now? Because you have like several different things happening.
Yeah, I have a lot going on. Just it's not busy. It's just life. It's not I'm not busy. It's just life on life's terms. So I have been through, I used to say, the 5 major stressors. I think moving across the country, death of a family member, job loss, sickness, divorce, and I was recently in a wildfire.
Yeah, that's 6.
6.
6
actually
stressors.
Yeah, and that started 3 years ago when I moved to Colorado with my now ex-husband, and it just, you can look at it a few different ways. I am honored to go through the things that I'm walking through right now. Because I feel like I've had a lot of friends not make it. And I think a lot of times people are afraid to open up and just be human for one moment.
Yeah.
And they go in this hole. And so it's not pretty sometimes. Right now, I'm currently sitting in a timeshare where, ironically, it's the timeshare, the last place I stayed before I planted roots in Grand County.
All right.
And it's totally because God put these girls in my life that got me an evacuee room, because my city was burning. So about 4 months ago, my now ex-husband, we called it quits after 12 years being together. We got together. He is in recovery too. We got together when we were very fresh, young in recovery. It's not recommended. I always would tell my sponsees, we are the exception. We are not the rule.
Yeah.
We just grew apart. And so I was very traumatized because I had just found out about my first autoimmune disorder. And I had been struggling to do that and fighting for myself with the doctors. Like, no, I know myself and I know I don't feel right. Like, and that's like standing up for yourself and advocating for yourself will get you very far. And I was only given that confidence through the program to know who I am enough to know who I'm not.
Yeah.
And how I feel and what's normal for me and what's not. And finally
good on you. That's a tough one to find. You have to be very, very honest with yourself. I deal with acute anxiety and PTSD, so I get that in a sense. I understand that, but I have to be very, very honest with myself on what's going on, even if it's something that I don't like. That's okay. That's okay. I can accept that and do something about it.
Right. Just do the next, sometimes not the next right thing, but the next indicated thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
You know what I mean? But I had like a doctor look at me because I thought it was mental. And it is partly. Like, I have struggled with mental health issues.
Sure.
Clinical depression. I've had I was just trying to figure out why I couldn't get out of bed every day and why I felt so bad every single day. And I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is when your cells are attacking your thyroid.
Yeah.
So my thyroid was not producing enough hormones for me to be able to function. And it threw everything off. So anytime a doctor tells me that they can't, because later down the road, 2 months later, I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
Okay.
And I had felt, and you know what? So many people will not look at the physical components of mental. And it's really important to look at all of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how's your emotional, spiritual, mental, physical health?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to keep an eye on all of those. In fact, we have a doctor coming on tomorrow on the podcast, talk about the physical portions of what alcohol does to you. Including,
Yes.
DTs, wet brains, livers, kidneys, your teeth,
Yes.
you get something wrong with your teeth, you can screw up your whole immune system.
Yes, you definitely can. I need to go to the dentist too.
there's your reminder.
Grand Lake, Granby, I mean, there's a dentist around here. I've passed it, but it's just, we don't even have a Walmart or a Target up here. I went from being in a big 4-story house in Denver to like, I lit my home right now is above the Grant County Search and Rescue, and it is in the process of getting plumbing, and I use a church's facilities, and it's not because I don't have the money. It's not an assistance program. It's just a space. It was a God thing, because I believe in keeping an extremely open mind when it comes to spirituality, and my God has changed and transformed over the years. And really, it's the ego that needs to define God.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's just not like God, that's us. But I think that my higher power knew this was going to hurt and it was going to be very difficult. And so he put me in literally one of the most beautiful places in Colorado.
Yeah.
And he put me around people. But I'll be honest with you, I don't have plumbing right now. Well, I shower out of church and I walk across the street with the moose. It's all moose. And that's home. I've started completely over, and it's been ugly and uncomfortable, but my higher power saw it coming. I got to work remote, so I could go when my dad had a heart attack a year ago. I could go down there.
Yeah.
Work from there. And now going through this, like, work from where I am, wherever I am. And that wasn't really like the case for me before getting the opportunity to work remote. I was an on-site property manager for 10 years. I'm very passionate about that industry because it is a sense of community. It is building community. That's the foundation of it. It's not about the bottom line. It's about keeping people safe and having them provide a comfortable place they can be proud to call home.
And a safe place.
Yes. And I actually have been on an asset that I had gang violence and I had drive shootings, and I had to go to the doors of these gang members, girlfriends or whoever, and I had to get down. And I think it's only because of the road I've walked that I could really get down to where they're at in a non-judgmental, transparent way and be like, look, I need you to go. I need you to clean up your thing. You clean up your apartment. I need you to turn your keys. I need you to go. Because an eviction would have taken like 2 months.
Yeah.
And they did. I was like, let me just bar you from the property. I'll release you. And I had cops with me. So, I mean, like, that kind of stuff in itself is a miracle. We've been given.
It's amazing. We can do things other people can't.
Right. Because we understand.
Because we've been there. We can speak. We can speak the language.
Exactly. Exactly. And also know, like, just empathize, but not even say anything. I believe in sitting in silence sometimes and just being there for somebody. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you've kind of been, what you've been talking about actually just reminds me of a Rolling Stone song, which is, you don't always get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you might find you get what you need. And that's absolutely what God does for me in my life. You know,
Yeah.
I can plan the plan, but I don't, and even then I don't even plan the plan half the time because God's got something else going on. Even today, my plans have already changed according to, but what's cool is now I'm in a position where I'm available to do that, and I
Yeah.
enjoy that. Um, I never know. Something may pop up and say, "Hey, Dion, I need to go to a detox or I need help." We never know what's going to happen in our world.
No, and I think we shortchange ourselves when we try to define our lives
Mm-hmm.
according to what we know. We know but a little, and it's a very hard thing to do. I would have
Mm-hmm.
never thought that my whole life, I picture myself standing on a rug and somebody just ripping it out from under me.
Mm-hmm.
I love like Alice in Wonderland falling down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But if anybody ever gets a chance to look at some Alice in Wonderland quotes, they are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's one that says, "If you can't look on the bright side, I will sit with you in the dark."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know what? I think that's just so meaningful,
Mm-hmm.
because there have been days where I was afraid of myself. I was afraid of what, like right now, I used to know exactly what my life looked like.
Okay.
I don't know that now.
Mm-hmm.
It's day by day. And I hear a lot of people saying, taking it day by day. I used to own a home,
Mm-hmm.
like I just got a storage facility and it made me feel a lot better
Okay.
to put my stuff in, because it has completely changed. And though sometimes I literally felt like I wasn't going to make it because of my physical health
Mm-hmm.
and just the mental health. One night I slept with rocks all over my body because I have never experienced the emotional pain that I experienced my
Mm-hmm.
first week out of my home,
Wow.
my ex home. But I didn't know what to do with the pain. It was all over my body.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I'd been ripped out of my comfort zone
Yeah.
and I couldn't go back. And it was me, but it wasn't just me.
Mm-hmm.
I might have been alone at that time, but I know I have friends in recovery that rally around me regardless.
Absolutely.
They feel what I'm going through,
Mm-hmm.
whether we're talking or not. And I had a higher power there with me. And I had gone on a hike that day, and I'm a really big rock collector.
Okay.
And so I collected all these like really big rocks. And I never felt so, like, I can't even explain it. I didn't know what to do,
Okay.
Nothing would have made it better. So I just laid down and I put rocks like all over my chest. And I just breathed, and I fell asleep,
Wow.
And I think that all of that, going on the hike, being in Steamboat Springs, because I
Mm-hmm.
timeshare hopped until I landed where I am now,
Okay.
and being open-minded and willing and honest with yourself on where you're at,
Yeah.
where I'm at, that has, like, how ridiculous is it to put rocks? But something told me to do that, and I fell right asleep.
We're listening, and for me to say that I don't think it sounds silly at all. Because I can feel what you're saying, and what you did is you went trudging to find God. You found him. I mean, he answered you, and for you to be able to just be able to fall asleep going through all that pain, that's a miracle.
Alone in a hotel.
Yeah. Going from all these creature comforts,
Yep.
running water,
Oh,
electricity, having a roof over your head. We were talking about that right before we started.
right.
Having a roof
Yeah.
over your head. No, you don't need one to get and stay sober, but gosh darn it, it helps.
It does, because you have more control over your environment. Like, you don't want to be around, especially early in recovery, you don't want to be around the nonsense.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I already know I'm being used because it's based on attraction rather than promotion. And I really have had two people like ask me about what I'm doing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've been sober for almost 13 years. You really, I'm like, yeah. What, do you think it's not possible? And they don't.
Yeah.
And it's one day at a time. You know what I mean? Giving
Mm-hmm.
myself a break, doing the work. It's a spiritual program. The spiritual program is, I'm sorry, notification. The spiritual program is the basis of the foundation, because there's going to become a time when there's going to be you and it's going to be between you, the drink, and God.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a God, you better get one. You don't have to have one when you get here, but you're going to need one to stay.
Yeah.
And it's
That
true.
that's why I'm a big 1, 2, and 3 step person,
Yeah.
because that's my foundation. So I
Yep.
work on steps 1, 2, and 3 every morning before I do anything else, because I know that if I have a tough day, then I have something to fall back on.
Right. And being honest about where you're at.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because I like to believe, I'm very hard on myself growing up as an athlete and everything.
Yeah, I can see that.
But you know what? I discovered beating myself up, trying to be the hero, trying to like never fall, falter, stumble, or be sick, or any of the things, because I'm physically weak, like I'm getting better, I'm on a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Denying all of that stuff is not being honest with myself. It's not doing me any good not to take care of myself and admit that I am a little bit powerless over it right now.
Yeah.
And me continuing to act like I have been, that I'm fine, which is impossible. That's making my life unmanageable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I need to be restored to sanity.
Yeah.
And that's where God comes in. And God is helping me walk through and balance my job. I've only missed a day and a half of work.
Wow.
All of this started, but that's me though. I
And
mean,
your stubbornness, huh?
Yeah, I probably should have missed more.
Yeah.
But restoring me to sanity of just stop acting like everything is the way it was, and take care of yourself and go and really immerse myself in the journey I'm on. Because otherwise I'm just glossing over it.
Yeah. Well, and you're gonna miss some stuff.
Exactly.
And that would really suck after all that work, to miss the gift from God because we were closed-minded about something silly. No.
Right. And just like, and it's fear-based, right? Like, so I was let go from a job. Basically, I'm in my industry that I'm in, I'm written for national publications, whatnot. It was basically these people didn't like me.
Okay.
And I never thought that you could be let go because people pretty much just didn't like you. And being the manager, I guess it was easier. And I signed the severance and I got the money. And like, it's just been the onion has been peeled. And I'm back in my industry now, and I'm doing a lot of really meaningful, wonderful things. And I think God literally had to remove me from the role I was playing, because I kept playing the same role in different places, to a role that I could make a difference on a wider level.
Yep.
And I had to start back at the bottom. I took like a really, really, really big pay cut, and that was fine. And I started over on a different side of the same industry, and now I get to like connect with people just like in the program, where they're at in their day-to-day, and give them tools that will make their lives easier, better, faster, more efficient. And I think that it's a parallel, and that's why I desired it. But God had to remove me. God had to remove me a lot. Like this divorce, I believe that God removed me.
He had to take you out of your comfort zone to get you to do some things.
Yes, because otherwise I would have just continued to try to figure out what's wrong with me, and thought about what was wrong with me since I've been out, like the way that I used to. I'm not under a time limit to get better.
Nope.
And that's very freeing. And that's where now it's up to me to practice some self-acceptance and self-care. Am I there yet? No, I'm supposed to be following a special diet. you know, I need to take the suggestions that are being given to me, because that's another thing in the program. Take suggestions. We offer suggestions.
Yeah.
It's up to somebody if they take them or not.
Yeah.
I've taken a lot of suggestions, but you know, it's the same thing, and we practice these principles in all of our affairs.
That's right.
It's the same thing. Take suggestions in all your affairs. If your doctor says that you don't need to eat dairy, sugar, gluten, like, why are you still eating vanilla Oreos? Why are you still eating peanut butter? Because I'm not taking suggestions.
Yeah. We're not taking care of ourselves that way.
I'm still doing it. I'm
Yeah.
not perfect. It's a little bit difficult, but there's no excuses. There's no excuses. I don't allow that. Like, just, I'm not taking suggestions. And until I do, I will not reap the benefits of the suggestions being offered to me. Same thing with the program.
Yeah.
You know, you can do anything you want as long as you're willing to accept the consequences, good or bad.
That's it. And it's funny because we come into the program trying to control everything. And, you know, that's what we really want. So we take all that away from you. And then come step 9, we kind of give back.
Yeah.
And we're like, here, you can have control again. And we don't know what the hell to do with it, you know, because we're not the same person anymore. I did sales right before I sobered up. I couldn't do sales anymore. I would get a panic. I would pick up the phone, start dialing. I get a panic attack and run, literally run.
It wasn't what you were supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. And that's what my wife, my therapist kept telling me. They're like, Dion, we don't want you to work. If you do work, it's going to be in the recovery field, helping other people. Other than that, no.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
I believe in that 100%. I couldn't sleep in my house the month before. Like, I could not fall asleep to save my life. I didn't feel comfortable. My body and my spirit already knew something was about to change.
Yeah.
Before I did.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just one foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, all we have is right now. There is nothing else going on besides you and me talking. Other than that, I don't have anything else. You know,
Exactly.
and if I have one foot in yesterday and one foot in tomorrow, I'm just pissing all over today. And I'm not willing to do that anymore.
No.
I am no longer willing to abuse myself or God's children. That's just, it's not in my playbook anymore.
Share that. Yes. And I believe that in the present moment is where perfect love exists.
It's the only place it can.
Because
you don't have anything else.
Right. Like, because of course, you know, coming out of a long marriage, had some resentments against love and what love was. And I've learned a lot about it. I've learned a lot about what love really and truly is, because our human will and our fears and our egos, that gets all mixed up. Our complacency, it gets all mixed up in what love is.
Yep.
And that's not love. That's not the perfect love. Perfect love is being right here, right now, where worldly things and spiritual things come together and it works.
Yeah.
But if we are casting our fears out and projecting, how can we love?
You can't love when you're like that. Yeah.
It's a different word. I don't know what word it is, but it's a different word.
The way I kind of see it is, love is just very simple, and we don't need to overdo it. We don't need to overthink it. We just need to let it be what it is.
Right. And what it isn't.
And, for me as a man, that was kind of uncomfortable. And I think that's why we're getting a lot more women in recovery right now, because it's become more of an emotional, you've been in AA for a little bit, and I don't know if you know this, but AA is turning more into emotional sobriety.
Yep. Focus.
And I love it. I love it. Yeah. We're making a big comeback.
Yeah, I do too.
Because,
I started out in NA for 9 years. And I switched over I was looking out my window. I switched over to I mean, I went to AA meetings, but I just like identified with the NA text at first a little bit more, because the big book is very, I love how we do recovery up here in Colorado, at least the way my sponsor and I do it, going together and reading and stuff. And I actually have a sponsee back in Georgia that wanted to work the AA program, so I'm taking her through it.
Nice.
And we're reading the book together as well. But I love the spiritual aspect that is involved in it, and the emotional sobriety. You know, I can work the steps on anything. I've worked the steps on quitting smoking, which I started again after 11 years. So bad.
Okay.
I will quit again. I
Okay.
promise.
I can't give you a hard time. I smoke, but it's
Well,
next on my
no,
list, and I'm praying about it right now too. So
I don't have the desire to stop. I'll know when I need to stop.
that's the thing. I don't want to.
Yeah, you have to want to. But you know, I did quit smoking like for 11 years, and I worked steps 1, 2, and 3. I can work on steps 1, 2, and 3 on any situation that comes in my day. Like, am I powerless over this? Am I trying to control this and I have no control? Is it making how's it making my life unmanageable? What am I doing that is the same thing, expecting different results to control it? God, please restore me to sanity. Take my will. Let me just surrender, and do the next indicated thing or right thing, depending on where you're at. It's the indicated thing when I'm extremely emotional and like, or evacuating for a fire. I had to like take my dogs and then come back into the fire and then left. But you know what? God has introduced me to people. He has put the right people in my path. I had immediately a place to go, then another place to go. Like I stayed with a friend I met that owns a boutique. Like if you're open, remaining open, magical things will happen. And though I don't look or feel very strong right now, I'm stronger than I've ever been.
I don't get that feeling from you. I think you might be putting that on yourself.
I think you're right. You're probably right. Because I compare my insides to other people's outsides sometimes.
Yeah, I get that. No, I find you to be a pretty strong person.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it takes a lot to come on here and talk about what you're going through, and so just in that, you know, got to give respect where it's due, honey.
I'm honored to be able to do it, and that's like my biggest thing, like, because there have been times where I couldn't get out of bed, like it feels like somebody's pushing. Anybody that has fibromyalgia or anything like that struggles with it. Like there are times when like I can easily beat myself up for not being able to do normal things as easily, like laundry.
Oh yeah.
Thing like that. Like I went to drop the dogs off and that house was perfectly clean, and like my world on the outside kind of looks like a mess, like or everything.
That's okay though.
You know what? Those are the details that don't really matter at the end of the day. Like I'll get them. But being here is where I need to be. You know, doing my job is what I need to do. Connecting with my God.
You know, it sounds like you've just gotten so many gifts, you know, by something that other people or we may even consider bad.
Yes.
You know,
why me? That's an easy
That's
trap.
it. Now I'll tell you why you, because you're sober, you got work to do.
Why not you?
Yeah, there you go. Why not?
Why not you? What makes you so special that you don't have to walk through these things? You think other people, I've been chosen.
Well, and you know, even though yours is fibromyalgia and mine is PTSD, we go through the same things. Because you feel bad for not getting the laundry done. I feel bad when I'm invited and I can't go because I just, you know.
No, I struggle with anxiety and depression.
So fuck guilt. Screw guilt, man. I don't know. I'm done. Yeah, I'm done with guilt. If other people want to have a problem with it, you know. But
I agree.
But I'm honest and transparent with those people. I don't think that would be good for me. Yeah. And they're like, okay, we get it. Nobody gives me a hard time about it.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard because I am the type of person. I'm getting a sleeve done right now on my arm.
Nice.
And I'm getting a human heart tattooed on it because like I do wear my heart on my sleeve for the sake of and being open, and it is a risk, and it's sometimes hard to feel like a little bit deeper or like be a little bit more transparent or being a little bit more willing to reveal yourself when there's a risk of, like I said, when I got fired, they didn't like me, whatever, like that your security could be threatened. That's so it's courageous for you to even like tell people why, because you don't really owe them that. You know what I mean? But like, what if one of them are struggling through the same exact thing you are?
That's
You
exactly
know what I
it.
mean? But
That's
doesn't
why
have
I'm
to say
transparent.
anything
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what if some of these mental health issues have physical components? Did
Yeah.
mine did?
My PTSD. Oh yeah. I'll start shaking. I'll sweat. My
My anxiety.
my BP will go through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And then all that blood rushes to my brain and I can no longer think.
Nope. I experience mine has more been, and I think a lot of it was because I was in the wrong environment. I wasn't where I was supposed to be. God had to move me. God was moving me the whole way. And but my body started attacking itself. And I don't know how much more clear you can get.
Yeah.
That you're not living your why. Because I would do like meditation and visualization, and I would see something completely different than what I was sitting in.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really, because I wasn't planning anything.
Yeah.
I was just getting quiet. And when we get quiet and go within, it can be scary.
It can be.
But it can be beautiful and it can be powerful. You
Well,
know, meditation.
it can be scary, but not necessarily fear. I mean, it's scary because of the unknown. But once you get there, you know, it's kind of like, I don't want to go to a meeting today. And you go to a meeting and you're like, oh, that was a really good meeting. It's the same thing. You're going to find out a lot of cool stuff about yourself.
Yeah. Like I can tell you though, for meditation, when you get quiet and go within, it can be really uncomfortable because it's kind of like doing a fourth step. But you're striving to go deeper and deeper and be with yourself. And sometimes like you don't like the way that something's affecting you, you think you should be stronger, or like this, you can feel some really, really, really big discomfort. And it happened to me about 9 months ago when I started meditating hardcore again. And then it happened to me recently on this journey. It's been very hard to get quiet. But you know what I found that helps is I find that sitting on the earth, going outside, breathing, holding like something that is a stick or a rock. I know this sounds really weird.
No, not to me. I get it. No.
Grounding and pure. It's really helped me to go because I feel rejected. That's how my ego feels, is rejected. So it's hard to go within and accept again.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing anybody any favor.
I pull weeds and meditate. Heck yeah. Are you kidding? My mom and I were big on that. And I'm not very good at all that stuff, but it doesn't matter. You know, I'll go pick up dog poo. It doesn't matter. What I'm doing is I'm removing myself from the equation so that I can hear. And I feel like the earth actually is I love playing in the dirt when I'm trying to do that.
Oh, I will hike barefoot. Being by the lake or a stream, because I'm on Lake Granby.
Yeah.
And everything. Like I went the other day, I hadn't been in a while because I live really close, but I'm displaced. And we could finally go back in the area. Like I just sat down and I was just like,
yep.
And I really feel like God knew. God knew that this was going to be hard and it was going to be tough and it was going to be heartbreaking for me. But you know what? He put me on a beach of rocks that all look like quartz. No lie. I have like this huge rock collection
But
now.
I believe you went to a meeting one day while you were on that beach.
I go to the meetings on the beach a lot.
Do you?
Actually.
Okay, yeah, because I noticed that. I always thought that was
Yeah.
pretty. Everybody else has like their backgrounds and stuff. You're like, no, this is real.
No, it's funny. I thought it was hilarious. I was on a conference call for work the other day, and everybody is changing their backgrounds, but mine keeps changing because my life does.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. That's awesome.
Kristen, where are you? It looks like you're in a nice place.
It was Where's Waldo, but now it's Where's Christin. So
right here. But no, I really believe, like, you know, trying to feel. So the reason I drank and used was because I wanted to feel different. I wanted to fill that emptiness, that void within myself. And that's the spiritual realm is the only thing that can fill it. And we keep trying to fill it with each other. Absolutely. And we're hurting each other by doing it. Yeah. We need to stop that. We need to stop hurting each other and stop using each other to fill our void. We can use a lot of different things.
Using somebody else to make you feel better is just selfish.
It is. And we need to really become aware of that and go deeper, you know, because honestly, like, it's hard to be courageous, and, you know, it's hard to get transparent and honest with people that might reject you or whatever. But, like, it's also hard when you get hurt, because if you really are aware of the whole, the God side, you can point out when you're doing it, not when others are doing it. Yeah. And it's sad and it's hard.
It is. And it's hard to pull away from too, because we were brought up, taught to use other people to make us feel better. We were taught that. Well, I'm your mom, I'll always be here. You know, these different relationships. So we didn't really understand, you know, I didn't, at least for a long time, that it doesn't matter whether it's happiness, sadness, it doesn't matter. It all starts with me and ends with me. Nobody else controls my feelings. They might affect how I feel, but what I do with that is my choice. And I love the fact that you bring up the courage, because people in recovery have a lot of courage. So, you know, you and I come on here and we speak because there's a lot of people that can't or won't. Maybe they can't yet because they don't have enough time. Maybe they won't because they are in a certain position and they need to remain anonymous. And that's okay. Thankfully, you and I can be in a bit. Well, you're kind of anonymous too, but for me, I'm a recovery personality. It doesn't matter to me. I'm at a place where it doesn't matter what you say to me or what you think of me. So I can come on here and do that for other people, and then talk with other people like yourself. So let people know there's hope, man.
Hope, yes.
There's hope.
There is so much hope. It's just, hope is a very, very, very important principle for me. It's probably the most important. I can draw hope from anything. Yeah. I always tell people, remember the good days, because that's where you can draw some hope from. Not going back to the past, and not even being the person you were then, but like knowing that this too shall pass. There was a sign at the recovery house I was at that said, this too shall pass, right by the sign out sheet. And that's really true, because we make permanent decisions in temporary situations.
Even the pink cloud, this too shall pass.
I never got the pink cloud.
No? You never had the pink cloud? Where you just feel so elated, very way too happy?
No, I wouldn't I guess the pink cloud, it's like, for me, like, I see the pink cloud, like, people come in recovery and they're on this pink cloud because they feel great. I felt like crap. I literally had brain zaps for 3 days. I had to go to class. My recovery house was like walking distance from where I was going to college at the time, which is a God thing. And no, I felt horrible. And you know what? I was sitting in between so my recovery house, I had just graduated finally with my degree, my first degree, which was like 5.5 years.
Okay.
Work took the long way because I had to get incompletes because like I had a problem.
Okay.
Professors that I still talk to today and help me and encourage me over a decade later, like they're still in my life, but they gave me incompletes and let me go and get help and like come back and finish. Awesome. I had a lot of schoolwork to do when I got back.
Yeah. Okay.
When I graduated, I was sitting on this huge boulder that was in the yard of the recovery house, and separating it was a graveyard from my psychiatrist's liquor store office. And though I, psychiatrists aren't bad, I see one today, but I was like using, you know what I mean? There's a difference. And all I have to do is walk across the graveyard if I want to go back to that. And that was very symbolic to me.
Oh, yeah.
It was right around the time I was graduating. And I remember sitting there and I said, you know what? Nothing can take this away from me. Nothing can take this feeling away from me. Nothing. It's not dependent on anything or anyone. It is a testimony.
Yep.
All I had to do was walk across the graveyard if I wanted to go back. Then I kept telling my sponsees years later to go sit on that same rock, but they moved it. They're like, what are you talking about? But I hadn't been there. But just go sit on the big rock. Just get out of the chaos.
Yeah, God, how can you miss a big rock? What's wrong with you?
Sit on the rock and get quiet. Get quiet.
It's awesome. All right. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to say to everybody, or?
Yeah, I mean, so when I got fired, I will say this, when I got fired from a job that really was just a lot of politics involved, but I started a podcast, and I have never, ever, ever really advertised it, or it was mainly for me. But I will tell you, because I recorded a couple episodes, one in particular about home.
Okay.
And it's one of the last ones, but my podcast is called Earth Mermaid Evolution.
Okay.
And it is being able to we feel a little bit different. We love a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what the whole meaning, and there's an episode on it, but Earth Mermaid Evolution is on iTunes.
Okay.
I also have documented a lot of this journey that I'm waiting to put out in some way.
You sent me the link. I haven't had you sent it to me yesterday. I haven't had a chance to listen to any of them yet. But yeah, I'm really interested to see this turn into like a memoir book or something.
I want it to. I'm actually going to write a children's book on one premonition that I had, spiritual experience in Vale by a river. Nice. But Earth Mermaid Evolution is my podcast. And when those other things, like, because it's going to take shape somehow, I'm still going through it and I'm still being respectful. But my message in all of those, like I have recordings of packing my things in my old home. Like, I want people to know that if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
We are not different. We are a bunch of Facebook avatars.
Yeah.
Just wanting love.
I think it's important, and that's why I do my daily reflections, that people see us in every facet.
Right.
I've been on my daily reflections in full-blown PTSD land, walking into the emergency room, doing my daily reflection, saying, God is good. All right.
You know what? That's what needs to be shown, because out of nowhere, I hear about people committing suicide all the time. I'm like, I never saw that coming.
Yeah. I don't feel it. I no longer feel ashamed.
Right.
I've accepted it, and I love who I am today, including my PTSD. I love it too, because it gives me a unique look on life also. I actually have benefits from having PTSD. I see just a little differently.
See the gifts. That's an honor and a privilege, because you're going to be able to connect differently.
Yeah. People
don't all connect the same.
No. But so it's cool when, and that's what's great about recovery though, is you and I kind of come from opposites. You were a single kid. I've got 8 brothers and sisters,
Mhm.
but we can sit down and still communicate and empathize with each other on what's going on, even though
Exactly.
there were different situations.
Right, because the feelings behind them are the same.
Absolutely. And a lot of the
Jesus.
time the result is the same, and so are the gifts.
Yeah.
Like
And that's why I encourage
serenity.
people to take what you can and leave the rest wherever you are, not just in meetings, but in
Yeah,
life. Take what
everywhere.
you can and leave the rest and leave your mind open because it will totally transform your whole state.
Well,
Like, don't be closed minded about anything. Take what you can and leave the rest.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great place to end it. I got a suggestion for my home group from somebody that I was pissed at the time, and now I love my home group. You know,
Yeah.
but that's because I was willing to listen and open-minded. Um, and now I've gotten speakers from it and more friends, and now if I would, well, that guy's saying something, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So good for that.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, asshole.
Yeah.
Love you,
Exactly.
dude.
Don't limit yourself to what you can do, where you can go,
Don't
just
do that.
because you
Yeah.
can't take what you can and leave
Yeah.
the.
That is so unfair to yourself and uncool, man. Be nice to yourself. All
Seriously,
right,
though.
guys. Thank you for being on and taking your
Yeah,
time.
thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, this was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. I look forward to seeing you in more meetings and and I appreciate it. Thank you everybody for listening today. I hope you have a great Tuesday. This has been a Raw Recovery with your host, Dion Miller. I love you all. Peace out and have a day.